designed around these fundamentals. Through a series of focused fireside conversations, we will examine ownership management models. They are practical enablers that will determine how confidently India's GA and BA sectors can, if India is to transition from a market of potential to a market of execution and confidence. Well, later this evening has provided BOA a study guidance, quiet encouragement, and a clear strategic compass, allowing the association to grow in credibility, relevance, and constructive engagement with policymakers and stakeholders. He has consistently
distinguished guests, honorable representatives from the Government of India, esteemed colleagues from DGCA, ERA, AAI, and AIB. Over the past few years, BOA has consciously repositioned itself from being only a representative body to being an active ecosystem partner. We have worked closely with the Ministry of Civil Aviation, DGCA, ERA, AI, and airport operators, often through structured dialogue, foundation of growth. I would like to place on record our appreciation for the openness and engagement shown by the ministry and the regulators over the past year. Dialogue does not always mean instant agreement, but it does build trust, and trust is essential for sustainable reform. In closing, I invite all participants to use this platform fully, ask hard questions, share global experiences, challenge assumptions, and most importantly, collaborate. If we get the ecosystem right, business and general aviation can become powerful to India's economic ambition, regional development, and global standing. Thank you once again for being here, for your partnership, and for your commitment to the future of Indian GAVA industry. Thank you.
DG will be able to leave only about 5:36, so he should be joining us for dinner, and we'll have his keynote address that time. So will be the case of a joint secretary who has confirmed that he will be joining the evening dinner, and we will have request him to speak at that time. Secretary is reaching very late at night, so he is since 2012, and it is truly a pleasure to have him amongst us again today after a gap of about 7 to 8 years, I guess. Mr. Kurt Edwards, Director General of International Business Aviation Council (IBAC), is the one of the most respected global voices in business aviation. His depth of knowledge and understanding of how businesses operates through a business aviation and where it is heading comes not just from theory but from immense hands-on global experience. Kurt represents 14 business aviation associations from across the world, and BO is one of his babies. And in that role, he is constantly traveling, engaging with governments, regulators, and industry leaders across the continents. He represents business aviation at ICAO and plays an active and highly effective role in ICAO assemblies, including the recently concluded triennial ICAO assembly during September last year. We are delighted to have him with us today, and we look forward to hearing his perspective on what is happening globally in business aviation and the key takeaways for the industry from the latest ICAO development. Kurt, it's a pleasure to have you with us, and we look forward to your thoughts. Thank you.
But thank you very much for that. That's very kind of you. Yes, I'm pleased to be back here with you. It has been 7 or 8 years since I've been here. So it's with great thanks to DAO that I make these remarks. Captain Bally asked me to share with you more of a global perspective about business aviation, kind of setting business aviation here in India in context with kind of the bigger world view. I'll make sure this is going to work here. Yes. So as Captain Bally said, we represent the business aviation industry at the International Civil Aviation Organization in Montreal. I live in Chicago, and I'm so grateful to be here too for the nice weather because we're in a deep freeze back at home. Critical ones, and I'll explain why shortly. And then we also have a number of industry partners that we are bringing into kind of this community where we are building a greater level of resources and expertise to be an effective or an even more effective advocate for you all at ICAO. So we are there for the business aviation operators sector. IATA is there for the airlines. There's an association for manufacturers. There's an association for the air traffic service providers, airports. We're one of the key 6 associations there representing our industry. Portion, although increasingly important from a political point of view, have to do with security and environment, and we work in those spaces as well. But when we are working at ICAO, we are constantly portion, although increasingly important from a political point of view, have to do with security and environment, and we work in those spaces as well. But when we are working at ICAO, we are constantly, you can see here some comparisons here with Brazil, with the European Union and the United States. Same thing with India. The vast kind of minority of airports are served by the airlines, and all of the airports within these different territories can be served by or are served by business aviation and general aviation. And this is an important distinction to remind our policymakers, 4 leaders from around the world, including Captain Bally, who was instrumental in working with the Indian delegation at that meeting. We put to work everyone, no matter where they were coming from, whether it was Europe, whether it was Southeast Asia, whether it was India, Africa, or Latin America. And I will tell you, we had a number of directors general of civil aviation approach us, especially me, and say, wow, you guys are really present this year and they're active. And that's our goal, is to get business aviation to be more visible as part of our campaign to be even more effective at ICAO. So we raised the profile of the industry, and in addition, and very importantly, we also got favorable outcomes to a number of issues where we wanted to speak and be heard at ICAO, namely GNSS radio frequency interference.
Mr. Sunny Duglani, Head of Airbus Helicopters in India and South Asia and Chairman of FICCI Task Force on Helicopters and General Aviation. He has been an exceptionally enthusiastic and effective leader with a clear and sustained focus on optimized growth of the helicopter ecosystem in India, aligned with the country's immense and still under-tapped potential. For more than a year now, Sunny ji and I have been in regular discussion on shared ambition, how India can realistically grow its helicopter population to 500 aircraft over the next 3 to 4 years. What is encouraging is that we are already seeing positive signals in areas like HAMS, offshore operations, tourism, and regional connectivity. What distinguishes his approach is not just vision, but deep involvement, working closely with operators, policymakers, and stakeholders to convert opportunity into execution. We look forward to hearing from him on Airbus Helicopters plans for India. More importantly, how all of us, industry and government together, can collaborate to achieve this goal. Thank you.
And a good afternoon to all of you. So it's always a pleasure and a privilege to attend this event on the eve of Wings India and to be in the midst of all of us, all of you from the industry. Now, when I was looking at the theme, India on the move, we kept the title from the perspective of India being on the move from an economic perspective, from a political perspective as a powerhouse. And then I thought, we in this room, we represent the aviation industry. Our job is to literally move people and connect people. And if you come to think of it, there are not many sectors, that can do that. And this
is the biggest strategic advantage of aviation, bringing people together. Because when you bring people together, you create opportunities, you boost trade and commerce. So it's not wrong to say that today aviation, including business aviation, is the heartbeat of our country. Now, if you look at the strategic advantage of aviation, more than the service that we all tend to focus on, right? There is another strategic advantage that aviation and business aviation brings to any country or to any economy. And that's its multiplier effect on the economy. The skills and the competencies that it brings to that country and to its industry. And I'm proud to say that here, Airbus is playing a lead. We are the only OEM as supplier for the fuselage of both the H-125 and the H-130 helicopter. You know, it is really a moment of pride to say that every H-125 and H-130 helicopter that will fly anywhere in the world, that will be delivered going onwards, will have the main fuselage assemblies made in India by an Indian company. So you may ask, like, what does it have to do with business aviation? And my answer is it has a lot to do with business aviation as well. Because these competencies that are being created in India, these engineers, trained manpower that is being created in India, thanks to these initiatives, it will also nourish the business aviation sector. It will also nourish helicopters and will contribute to the growth of the entire sector. To come back. And now he uses an H-125, he takes off from his backyard and he's able to do 3 sites. He's able to survey 3 sites in a day and come back home in the evening. So that goes to show this is the real impact of business aviation, where we are increasing productivity 3x in this case.
From 28 onwards, we should hit a century. And a few of the things you mentioned, easy financing and early induction without any delays, would be the main contributor towards that aim. So we're working for that. So now it's my privilege to introduce a distinguished leader in aviation safety, Group Captain Yugandhar, Director General of Aircraft Accident Investigation Bureau under the Ministry of Civil Aviation, Government of India. Group Captain Yugandhar is a seasoned aviation professional with roots in aeronautical engineering and military aviation, leads India's independent aircraft accident investigation authority with deep expertise and commitment. Since taking charge, he has overseen some of the most consequential investigations in recent Indian civil aviation history, including the high-profile inquiries into major air accidents. Importantly, in recent years, the AAIB has broadened its outreach, contributing to safety studies, fostering international collaboration, and enhancing analytical capabilities such as black box data analysis and human factors research. These initiatives have helped elevate safety culture and preventive strategies, not just in airline operations, but also across wider aviation industry. Looking ahead, Group Captain Yugandhar's perspective on integrating safety insight into general business and business aviation will be invaluable.
Good afternoon. First of all, thank you, Mali sir, for inviting me. The numbers of helicopters, when we talk about, we from the government side are expecting the strength to be 2,000. In the sectorial meeting for the Prime Minister, from our ministry, we had projected the requirement of 2,000. Because of our geographic spread, we are expecting for the disaster relief itself more than 500. Maybe by the 28, you should expect that century what he said, that 20 plus can be yours and others also can join in that. Such a huge business potential and opportunity is there in India. Next, coming to the accident investigation, there is nothing to be afraid of accidents and investigations. Okay, so it is an occupational hazard. Okay, but every investigation is done to prevent accidents. The entire aim is to prevent accidents. The investigators works so hard and does so much of research so that similar accident doesn't happen. But still they happen. It is because the people do not learn from the others' mistakes. Because in accident it is said that the accidents are not new, only the actors are new. They are not learned from the violation of SOPs. So this is where we are concentrating more. How the trainers can prevent the violation of SOPs. Next, coming to the non-scheduled operators. Non-scheduled operators, we can say about 35 to 40% of the occurrences which we are investigating are from the non-scheduled operators. So non-scheduled operators, many of the investigations lead into the human errors are much lower, much lower. It is because the guys who are maintaining are very well seasoned and they know the importance of the machine which they are maintaining. And the ground incidents due to passengers or because of the crew also are much lesser. In the entire history of the existence of aircraft accidents, because the passenger behind expects the pilot is very senior who had flown earlier for so many VIPs and is flying my business aircraft, and he just goes with good faith, and you can't go with that. Every sortie is new, and whenever you are getting into the cockpit, you have to be as careful as you are flying for the first time. One of the papers which we presented in the recent ICAO General Assembly was control flight into terrain. It is always an approach. So we have recommended certain steps how CFIT can be prevented on approach when the systems are available on board the aircraft. EGPWS is available and ground radars are available. We have proposed that easy operation of helicopters are to be implemented. At the same time, the helipad infrastructure is also going to be strengthened from the government side. The helipad infrastructure, when I discussed with the minister, it was operated by the guy who can take whatever minimum salary given for a month. So these are the things which we have to look into, where the government will not be able to do on its own. I am happy to know that
PPP, that is Public-Private Participation Airport model in India. Following the signing of OMDA in India, India's first two major airports in 2005, he took charge of the development of Delhi International Airport. Under his leadership, Delhi Airport was transformed in record time in Asia Pacific region, a position it continues to proudly hold. And one of us, and each one of us, continue to enjoy the benefit of it. About 4 years ago, he moved to Hyderabad as CEO of GMR, Hyderabad International Airport, bringing with him the same dedication, professionalism, and future-oriented thinking. Throughout his career, he has consistently recognized the strategic importance of general and business aviation, not just as a user segment, but as a critical enabler of economic growth. He was the first to establish the exclusive GA-BA terminal at Delhi, and he can shape GA-BA's infrastructure across airports nationwide. Over to you, Pradeep. Thank you.
Captain Bali, that was in the other speakers before me. I think Bali, I think you have talked about me. Some of them are not. I wouldn't like to assign to myself. The Delhi Airport, I was a part of the team which made Delhi Airport what it is, but definitely we had other leaders who did it. And I've been in Hyderabad now almost, this is my 8th year I'm completing.
Sorry.
So these are two inconsistencies. We actually developed this airport in 2008. We started operations of the airport. Since 2008, at that time, the total traffic in this, in terms of passenger numbers, just to get a barometer, was around 5.5 to 6 million passengers a year. So this state at that time, this year Andhra Pradesh at that time, it was one state. and then it got bifurcated somewhere in 2014. Till that time, there was a lot of turmoil in the state, and this did not grow so much. And by 2014, we had moved from around 5.5, 6 million to just 10 million passengers. It may be a very big growth in various other economies, but not in the Indian context. But in 2014, after the state got bifurcated, by 2019, that's in just 5 years, we moved from 10 million to 20 million. That was the kind of growth. In 2020, I think COVID came, so we were actually held back. We recovered, and then by 2022, we have increased 2-3 times. So that's something which definitely the business leaders will look at, and we're more than happy to perhaps welcome you all into the kind of thing we're looking at. As an airport, the airport has a very strange love-hate relationship with the business aviation community. I mean, the group captain will bail me out. When I was in Delhi, I think we've had many tips with him. The point is, on the fixed wing, we don't have so much of a challenge because it doesn't eat into our capacity. But if it is a rotary wing or if it is the eVTOL we're talking about, our concern is that it will eat into our runway capacity. And as an industry, you need to work this is the aviation part, but as passengers also. And welcome you again to Hyderabad as a city, and look forward to your basically contribution in making our airport a better place.